Hey fellas, Meat Trapper here, and today I'm testing out a new one-pole snare support drowning system that I have for beavers. It's something I've been playing with for a little while, and I've had mixed success with it, but I'm learning more and more how to employ it properly. And it's a great system for certain situations, and let me explain what it is, how it works, and what those situations are. And so first we'll start with the law and why I'm having to do this. What I'm on here is a creek, and this creek is flooded because just around the bend there's a beaver dam, and it's flooding the property. Now, the way the law is in the state of Alabama, if I get up on the land on that side of the creek or on that side of the creek, I've got to have written permission of the landowner to trap, which makes perfect sense because if you're going to get up on somebody's property, you need to have permission from that person. Not a problem. The problem becomes, I'm in a john boat today, and if I step out of this john boat into the water, I'm trespassing, because the landowner who owns the property on that side and that side also owns the ground underneath the water. Now, I don't have to have permission to float a boat or a kayak up this creek. That's considered a navigable waterway. I can go up and down this creek and I don't have to get permission. If I step out and touch bottom in the water, even if it's 5 feet deep, if my toes touch the ground, I have to have written permission from the landowner, which makes it difficult to put in a set if I don't have written permission. So what I've had to do is I've had to learn how to make sets from my boat without getting out of the boat. So what we have here is two of my snare systems. Those are 7-foot pieces of 1/2-inch rebar. They've got a number 11 wire welded onto them. That's a support wire. They have a snare, and then there's a drowning lock that the snare is attached to. So the idea is simple. The beaver swims along, smells the lure, and he swims into the snare. Once he's in the snare, it's a very short 40-inch snare. The drowning lock, the first thing he's going to do is he's going to dive. The drowning lock is going to take him straight down to the bottom, and he can't come back up. So that piece of rebar is my snare support and it's my drowning rod all in one. The other thing that's important is all I have to do is go into water that's about 5 feet deep and shove the rod down into the mud and set the snare. Throw my lure on top and I'm done. I have never stepped out of the boat. I have never touched the landowner's property on either side of the creek. I haven't touched the mud or the dirt underneath the water. So everything that I've done is 100% legal. I have not violated the law in any way. And so these are the links that I'm having to go to get around some of these archaic laws where it just doesn't make any sense. But anyway, as you can see, I've got two of them, and hopefully we'll have some action in the morning. Now this drowning lock is called the Death Diamond drowning lock, and that's because it has a diamond opening cut in it. And this is by far the best drowning lock that I've ever seen or used. This thing is super heavy duty. You can see how thick it is. It'll work on just about any pole, whether it's fiberglass, carbon fiber, rebar, what have you. And I just clip my snare using a quick clip on there. And you can see that this will flow down the rod, but when the beaver tries to come back up, not going to happen. So it's a one-way slide wire all the way down. Now at the bottom of the pole, I've welded some number 9 wire, and that's to keep the pole from spinning. Once I push that in the mud, that's going to serve as a flap or a lever to keep the pole from spinning around. You don't want it to spin. Up at the top, I've got another piece of number 9 wire here. That's to keep everything on the pole. You don't want your drowner lock to be able to slide on or off the pole. It needs to be captured. Then I've simply got a piece of number 11 wire wrapped around, and that's my actual snare support. Now the snare that I'm using is a 40-inch snare. This is 1/16 inch diameter, 1x19 cable, and you can see that the swivel that I have on the end is a barrel swivel, number 8 barrel swivel. Works great, and that clips right onto the drowner lock right there. and I have my plastic tubing whammy, and that will fit right there. And so basically the snare will be clipped right there. My donut lure will be slipped right on the top, and then the snare will be clipped to the drowning lock. And that's it. Push the whole thing down in the mud, make sure it's secure, and off you go. Now I've got one other little surprise here that I'm going to try today, and that is a little bitty glow stick. I'm going to use some electrical tape and tape it to the top of the pole here. And that's one reason that I put my snares out right as the sun is going down. I want this to be as bright as possible for as long as possible. And this is simply based on visual eye appeal. And Clint Locklear markets a lure that's a glow-in-the-dark lure called Unfair Advantage. And basically, it serves the same thing. I don't have any of that, although I do want to try it and see how good it works, if at all. But I did have some of these little glow sticks left over, and so that's what's going to happen. I'm going to just electrical tape that and crack it and stick it on top of the pole. So anyway, let me paddle on down the creek, and I'll make another set just like that, and we'll see what we do. Hopefully that gives you a little bit better idea of how the system works. You can see there's my snare loop, and you can see it's supported right there by the number 11 wire, and then the snare is clipped to the drowning lock, the Death Diamond drowning lock. And what happens is the beaver will come along, hit the snare, it will detach from the support collar, and then when it goes down, that lock is going to go straight down that rod, and he won't be able to get back up. Okay, I went to check my my vertical pole sets, and unfortunately I left the camera in the truck, so I couldn't show you the actual check, but I can show you the results. There you go. That's a double. That was the two poles that were placed side by side, and managed to find one of the donuts, not both of them, but two very nice beavers, and they were run all the way to the bottom of the drowners on the poles. I had two more poles that I did make a catch on. One had the snare loop knocked down. You can see that right there. So something hit it, but I didn't have it right and missed it. The other one, you can see the donut is still on top of it. It had no activity whatsoever, and then a double on that one. So it's another good day, and I think the concept has been proven, and I think that a vertical pole set is definitely something to have in my bag of tricks, especially in situations where I can't get out of the boat, and I have to make the set completely in deep water and make it a drowning set. So everything worked out well. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.